Hi, Megan.
Hi, Paul, how are you?
Okay.
Looks like the girl did pretty well at her first trial there.
Well, could have been better if she wasn't so nervous.
Uh,
That was most of the problem. We would have done a lot better, but she was so nervous. That's just the way she is, though.
yeah, well, hopefully as she gets out and about to more places, it'll
Yeah.
get a little better.
We've got another trial in the end of this month, so we'll see how she does there.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Not quite 8 yet, so I'm just going to give people a couple minutes. This is good though. There's people here. I was kind of afraid that I'd be talking to an empty Zoom meeting, so this is good.
At least it's not empty, hey?
Yeah.
People need to figure out how to turn their sound on.
I think I automatically muted everybody, but I would imagine most people are pretty used to Zoom now, but
Okay.
I can, um, I can ask to unmute. What I'll do is at the end when I open to questions, I can unmute everybody. I just feel like probably a lot of us might have PBGVs in our houses that might maybe bark. So it might be better if we're not all unmuted at once.
Mm.
I mean, the PBGVs in my house also might maybe bark, but at least that way it's only one set of them.
Okay.
Um, but I can, because I think I set it to mute everybody, but I can probably also, all right, I could actually set it so people will be allowed to unmute themselves when the time comes. So I just did that. Which I guess you must have figured out how to do already because you're talking.
Oh, yeah.
Come to think of it. All right.
What did I do?
I don't know.
Uh, I think I lost you. You hear me?
I could, yeah.
I lost the video somehow. There it is.
All right. It's 8 o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and start, and I'll just keep an eye if other people are trying to join so that I can let them in. Thank you guys for calling in. I was hoping, as I said, that I wouldn't be talking to an empty Zoom. Hopefully, most of you are planning to come to the show, and it's starting to get kind of close and exciting and a little scary. We're coming into the point. Last time I did this when the world came to an end. So if that could not happen over the next few weeks, it would really be awesome. For those of you who don't know, the last time was 2020, so I would really like to not do that again. So my plan is a couple of the committee chairs did ask for time to talk, so we will do that. But first, I have a couple things that I just want to go through, and I will open it up for questions at the end if that's okay. If you think of something that you know that you want to ask and you're afraid you'll forget, type it in the chat and I'll make sure that I check the chat before I end everything. This will be recorded. I will post the recording in the Facebook group for people who aren't here. And I will do my best to figure out how to get it up on YouTube because I'll only be able to keep it recorded in Zoom for 30 days because I run out of storage. So I should be able to get it so that if people want to watch it. But I know that some of the ways that we do our registrations and things like that are not completely intuitive. So I'm going to go into screen share mode now and just go through the schedule. I have a list of the questions that came up and some notes that the committee chairs want me to share. So as we come to stuff, I will share that. But I know entries go to a lot of different places, and our activities registration that PBGVCA does makes sense to those of us who've been coming to PBGV National for a while, although Laura was awesome and found some mistakes that Veronica and I missed, so that was very helpful. Thank you, Laura. But even if you're not new to dog shows, if you're new to our specific show, the system's a little bit quirky, so I will go through it a little bit just to try to cover any questions that might come up. So I'm going to go into screen share mode now. If you're on a phone and can't see the video, I apologize for that, but I think being able to see. So you guys can see my screen, right? Just nod or thumbs up.
Yep.
Okay. All right, let me go into, okay, so you should now be seeing the PBGVCA page. So if you haven't already been on this page and you're thinking of coming to the show, you probably want to be here. It would be a good idea to make your hotel reservations sooner rather than later. If you run into trouble, let me know, because I can add room nights to the block. I've already had to do that a couple times, which I'm hoping is a good sign, particularly if you're coming earlier in the week for the performance events, because we didn't have very many rooms blocked and we keep running out. And remember, if you're coming to the hunt, you probably don't want to stay at Roberts Center for the hunt because it's 2.5 hours away. And hunts start really early in the morning, so that would not be advisable. Okay. So the activities, actually, I'm going to go into premium lists first, and then I'll go into activities registration. All of the premiums are here on the PBGVCA site. Some of them may also be found on trial secretary pages and things like that, but they're all here for you. And you can see there's a bunch of them. And not everything goes to the same place, which is a little bit where people get confused. The other thing that I want to say, I don't know how much this has come up, but a couple people last year who were at the show for the first time told me they only entered the regional because there was confusion for people that were brand new to dog shows, not realizing they thought they had to win at the regional to get to show at the national, which it's just two separate shows. If you're coming, you should really enter both of them unless you have some compelling reason not to. So I'm putting it out there. If you're going, there's two events at least of, or there are specifically two events of everything. You probably want to enter both. So the first thing in the week is agility. So your agility premium is here. These entries go to Erica Benke, and I do not believe she accepts online entries. So those you need to mail in enough time that you can get them there in the mail, if that's something that you're doing. Entries for everything open next Wednesday, which is next Tuesday. Now I'm going to find all the mistakes I missed. Next Tuesday, which is February 13th. Agility is PBGVs only. It will not fill. So just worry about getting those entries in for closing date and you should be good to go. I do have an update from the agility chair because she couldn't be here tonight, which is that we will be setting up for agility Monday night. So if you happen to be at Roberts Center Monday night, we will need all hands on deck for course building, if at all possible. You don't have to know what you're doing. We will happily train you. And then we do need volunteers during the day on Tuesday. Even just if you're sitting and watching anyway, you can sit in the ring, and if a bar gets knocked down, you pick it up and you put it back where it belongs. And that's a huge help because that's one less person we need doing that. I think we have a scribe for the day, but we need a timer. Being timer is really easy. You just push a button and it tells the dog to go. So we do need some help. So if you're planning to be there watching, there's definitely some volunteer opportunities there. And then Wednesday is scent work. These entries go to Cheryl Kazier, who is also handling the show, which means that you can use Cheryl's online system if you want to enter scent work. Again, scent work is PBGVs only. Agility is 2 trials on Tuesday. Scent work is 2 trials on Wednesday. We do have 2 judges for scent work, just in the interest of not being there till midnight, hopefully. So it is unlikely that we would fill because we are just PBGVs. If it was only 1 judge, there would be a risk of filling. 2 judges probably will not. So as long as you're in by closing, you'll probably be okay, but it does open next week. We offer every element and every level. So for people that are that do scent work, that is kind of rare at trials. A lot of times you either don't get to do all the elements, or some of them are only novice and open, things like that. We wanted to make it as available as possible. For anyone who might be entering scent work for the first time that has a bunch of dogs, as many of us do, the one thing though that you do need to know is each person can only handle one dog in a class, because once you've handled that one dog, you know where the hides are. So it kind of wouldn't be fair. You wouldn't know where it was for your second dog. So if you have more than one dog that's at the same level, you would need to have a second handler, or what some people do is enter one dog at the national, one dog at the regional, so they both get a turn. But that's something that has come up in scent work, where people got to the show with 2 dogs entered and realized they couldn't run them both. So just be aware of that. Scent work, again, we will definitely need some volunteer help, potentially with setup on Tuesday and definitely during the day Wednesday. The scent work trial ends up kind of taking over the hotel. So we'll be searching conference rooms and restrooms. Probably some of the searches will be in the ring itself. A lot of times we do containers in the show ring. Scent work is open to spectators most of the time. You just have to kind of be quiet and not let the handlers know where the hides are, because that would sort of defeat the purpose. Okay. That's Wednesday. And now we get into Thursday, which is where the kind of regular events start. Thursday is the regional, it'll be obedience first in the morning, and then rally, and then the show will start following that. So probably late morning to early afternoon, the show will start. We do have 2 separate rings, but we will do our best not to overlap, unless the entry is really huge and we have no choice. I am also going to do my best to not start anything before 8 o'clock in the morning, because I have a whole lot of dogs to take care of, and I realize that other people do too. And it's just, the days are long. So we're going to do our best to not have any 7 o'clock starts if I can help it. But we got more people joining. So that is the plan. But if the entry is huge, as I said, I might not have a choice there. So that'll be everything on Thursday. After the show on Thursday is the annual meeting, which we always need to have as many people as possible come to, so that we have a quorum. And then after the annual meeting, Thursday evening is top 20. Marina Rose has taken over top 20 this year. It sounds like she's got some good plans for it, and she's hoping for a nice turnout for that, so that's Thursday. All the entries for Thursday go to Cheryl Kazier. You can enter online or you can mail them. None of those events are going to fill. Technically, they're all unlimited, because there's not enough PBGVs that it would become an issue as far as how many a judge is allowed to do in a day. So just get those in by closing and you'll be good. But be aware, it is an early closing for everything. We do that because we have to get the food order to the hotel, and we may have to order some last minute ribbons and stuff like that. So just realize, if you're used to 2.5 weeks before, it's not, it's 3.5 weeks before. And then Friday would also be included in that premium. Friday, we have a lot of seminars and some cool activities going on. The awards breakfast is Friday morning. We have the national rally and obedience will then be kind of late morning on Friday. And then we get into all of the other seminars. So we have a breeders roundtable. Kitty's going to do the mentor seminar, which anybody who's interested in basically the same topics as judges education, but Kitty's preference is that members who aren't judges come to the mentor seminar, not the judges ed thing that's a little bit more limited to judges. So that'll be on Friday afternoon. CGC on Trick Dog will be Friday afternoon. That we will open to other breeds if we don't get an overwhelming number of PBGVs, but I want to make sure that the PBGVs get first crack at everything that they want to do. So we're going to wait and see, but we have a few CGC evaluators lined up. So hopefully we'll be able to accommodate everybody. And then Friday evening, and Laura, if you want to talk about this, just wave your hand, but we have Dr. Greer giving her talk about reproductive, basically canine reproduction. There will be a dinner with that, which I'll talk about in a couple of minutes when I go through the activities registration. But that should be a pretty exciting event. So hopefully we'll get really good attendance for that. And then Saturday is the national show, the auction, which Janice Hayes is in charge of the auction again. I believe she is planning an online version of that. If you would like to donate items, please contact Janice directly and she can let you know whether it's best to bring them to the show with you, or for the online stuff. I think sometimes she just has the donorship directly to the winner. But Janice is the contact person for the auction, which will be part of the banquet on Saturday night. Saturday also gets into our other premium list here, which is Fast Cat. Fast Cat is the one event that is open to other breeds, but it's PBGVs first. Because again, I want everybody with a PBGV who wants to play to get to play. So the way opening date for Fast Cat works is PBGVs can enter next Tuesday, the 13th. Between next Tuesday and the 16th, which I think is next Friday, only PBGVs can enter. We will not fill with PBGVs. They're limited to 125 runs per event, and there's 4 events. So you can actually run 4 times if you want to in Fast Cat. But we want to get all the PBGVs in first, and then after that, everybody else can play. So if you happen to have other breeds also, or be traveling with dogs that aren't PBGVs, you can enter them in the Fast Cat. You just have to wait till the 16th. Fast Cat will run, the events will run concurrently. So there's 2 trials on Saturday. Yes, I know it's in conjunction, in conflict with the national. There's 2 trials on Sunday. Yes, I know it's in conflict with hunt practice. The only way I could get, sorry, I keep dropping things here. The only way I could get a lure operator to be willing to come and set up was to give them a Saturday, Sunday. That was the deal. And I think that we will be fine. I had a lot of PBGV people who really wanted Fast Cat. The lure operator is pretty confident that entries will fill or come close to it, which is a really good thing for the club. So yes, I know that we may have to accommodate some conflicts. I would recommend that people who are showing in confirmation who want to run Fast Cat on Saturday probably try to get themselves out there at 8 o'clock in the morning, do your Fast Cat run, and then groom your dog, because the show probably won't start till 9:30, 10 o'clock. I know the recommendation, if you're planning to do hunt practice runs, again, is try to run early if possible. But we will work with you to the extent that we can for Fast Cat. You do, as I said, you can run twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday. It's not like you have to run at a certain specific time. We will do our best on conflicts, but we do have to try to be fair to everybody on that one. But you should be safe to enter Fast Cat and enter a dog in the show, and we'll do our best to make it work, as I said. The Fast Cat entries are only online. So the only way to do it is to follow the instructions in the premium list and do it on the test secretary's website. He does not accept paper entries. It has to be done online. So that's, again, that is his rule. And that's pretty typical in Fast Cat. I know most of the ones I enter around here don't accept paper entries either. So if you're on this Zoom meeting and you're looking at the premium list online, you probably have the capacity to enter online. If not, everybody has the capacity to go to a public library and enter online from a computer if they really need to. So entry is only online for that one. And again, the premium list is on the PBGVCA site. You could also find it on the Tally Ho event site, which is where the online entry is. And that is, as I said, the only place they accept entries. Fast Cat has a slightly later, and oh, I'm seeing another typo in the Fast Cat premium list. Why am I, okay. Entries open on February 16th, not March 16th for other breeds. I will get that corrected. If anybody happens to have another breed and be panicking, I will get that fixed. I really did proofread these, and so did 500 other people, I swear.
Come back to that a minute.
Okay.
It says on right there, it says the 16th it will open. Is that for us, or is that we open on the 13th? Which is it?
We are supposed to open on the 13th. Again, I will check on that because that was not the conversation I had, and I'm sorry that I missed that. I will check on that, and I will get it. I will have Veronica send out a blast email because that is not what I thought that this premium list said.
Well, either way, as long as we know which to do.
I will make sure everybody knows, and there is definitely a PBGV's first period. There were a few different versions of this premium list, and I'm afraid the one that got published is not what we thought was the final version. So I will get on that tomorrow. Okay. All right, two other things here before I get into the activities registration. One is the hunt premium list. Mary, I believe you're on the call. Am I correct? You can unmute yourself if you are. Mary, you are,
Sorry, my
okay.
my
I had it set to mute everybody automatically, but do you want to talk hunt since I'm on the hunt premium list now?
yes, please.
Okay, how about it?
So basically, hi, everybody. If you have any thought that you want to run your dogs, be sure to enter the hunt on opening day. This hunt is very likely to fill. And you don't want to be the person who entered late, because that puts you top of the list to have your run eliminated if we are overfilled. So this is probably, having written several, and well, quite a few, and read many more premium lists, I have to say this is probably one of the most comprehensive premium lists we've ever had. So read the whole thing. There's a lot of good information in there. Entries can be by U.S. Postal Service, postmarked for the day, for opening day, or online. Both will be treated equally. And it's not what time you send them. It's not what day they're received. It's what day they are sent. So postal entries, priority mail or certified, so that you have tracking, would be a good idea. If you want to be really safe, keep copies of what you've sent just in case. If you have a receipt that shows you mailed it and you've got your copies and somehow it goes missing, we'll work with that. So just keep that in mind. Online entries, just follow the instructions. If you have any questions about the entry process, Paul, I hope you'll be willing to field them for people. I think it's pretty clear. As I said, the hunt is very likely to fill, and our goal will be to get every dog that's entered the opportunity to run if we possibly can. We may wind up having to make some hard decisions. You may not get your brace or solo stake that you've entered because you just, you get eliminated from it. All I can say is let's just all try to be good sportsmen and put our big girl and big boy pants on, and remember that sometimes you got to take one for the team. And having done that multiple times myself, I hope that everybody will understand that we are going to try so hard to give you what you want, but it's probably not going to be possible to satisfy everyone. So as long as I can, make sure that every entered dog gets a chance to run, that will make me very happy. I hope that works out. One thing to keep in mind is that a lot of bitches go in heat at nationals. They all come together, they all mix their hormones up, and the next thing you know, you got bitches in heat right, left, and center. We are going to be pretty strict about bitches in heat not going onto the hunt field. So you need to confirm your bitch is not in heat before roll call, because if your bitch is found to be in heat after roll call, you're not going to get a refund. If you confirm that your bitch is in heat before roll call and, elect not to run the dog, obviously, then you can get a refund. And we're going to have marshals swabbing dogs like they do for Fast Cat for what that's worth. If you, don't notice that your dog's in heat and it is found on, sent out with a pack, that's not cool. So let's all be good, responsible dog owners, and we all should know better because we observe our dogs and monitor our dogs carefully. So the other thing is, if your dog does not play nicely with others, if you have a dog who can only run with this or with that kind of dog, again, we'll do our best to accommodate you, but that all bitch pack is probably not going to be there for the person who enters their intact male as an individual and, says my dog can only run with bitches. So that's probably not going to work out very well. So if you have a dog that is, maybe doesn't do so well with all kinds of dogs, try to find some hunt buddies that you can pack together with so that you can run your dogs with dogs in a prearranged pack where it's going to work out. We're going to be pretty strict about interference. So, because we're not going to have a repeat of what happened in 2021. No fights on the field is my mantra this year. So if your dog is interfering with other dogs, trying to hump other dogs, you're going to get a warning. you might get a second warning, or you might be told to bring your dog off the field. So, just bear that in mind and try to be strategic about how you enter your dog if that's an issue. We're going to have some seminars late afternoon on Sunday, probably between 4 and 6. This isn't carved in stone yet, but right now the plan is a seminar on how to teach a tally-ho cue, a seminar on recalls from the handler's perspective and from the judge's perspective, a seminar on how to avoid making mistakes when you apply for titles, and then finally a seminar on what the marshal does, what the gallery should and shouldn't be doing, basically how to behave on the field if you are not a handler and not a judge. Let's see, I think that is everything that I needed to say. I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has one.
I would prefer online entries, to tell you the truth.
Paul really hates reading people's handwriting. He likes them to be filled in with the machine.
I'm with Paul. I think it should always be online for everything.
Well, it's by mail and online, and
Actually, the online is so much easier than by hand.
just write neatly for Paul's sake if you are sending in handwritten entries. Anybody else? Okay, thank you, Megan.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, so I am going to go back. One other thing before I go into the activities thing, I don't think Vicky's on, but she had asked me to definitely talk about this, is the triathlon registration form is on with the premium list as a separate form. You can also find it in the show premium list. Triathlon, for those of you who might be new, is a pretty fun thing to do. And for PBGVs, we really try to make it pretty accessible, even if you might have a young dog or be new to performance events yourself. Last year, one of my puppy people came to nationals as her very first dog show. She had never been entered in any dog event. With her very first, she entered 2 dogs in the triathlon and actually managed to queue in triathlon with one of them. So this is very doable, even if you're new. A lot of things count. The way triathlon works is for the regular triathlon, you have to be entered and qualify in at least 3 things. Actually, I think this is Vicky joining us, so maybe I will just let her talk. Let me see. Vicky, is that you who just joined? You need to unmute yourself, or I can. Vicky, I'm talking triathlon now. I'm pretty sure that's your number that just joined. So if you would like to talk instead of me, feel free to unmute yourself, but I think you have to do it on your end. But anyway, triathlon for the regular, it's enter and qualify in at least 3 things. You can enter more than 3 things if you want to have like a backup plan, which can sometimes be a good thing to do. Beginner triathlon is that you're entered in 3 things, you qualify in at least 2 of them. And there are a couple things like Canine Good Citizen and Trick Dog and Fast Cat that count towards beginner that don't count towards the regular. So even if you have maybe a puppy or a dog that's kind of just learning, you have some options that way. So the things that count, any agility qualifying run counts as regular triathlon because agility is hard and we recognize that. Obedience classes, beginner novice counts as beginner triathlon. Any other obedience class counts as regular triathlon. If you are showing a veteran in the veterans obedience class and you score, because for veterans obedience, they place the top 4 dogs regardless of whether they would have had a qualifying score. But if you get what would have been a qualifying score in the veteran class, they do count that as triathlon. Qualifying in any rally class counts, qualifying in any scent work class counts. The Canine Good Citizen, Trick Dog, and Fast Cat and Hunting Instinct test all just count towards beginner. And I believe the rule is for CGC, Trick Dog, and Fast Cat, you can only count one of those 3 things towards your beginner. But that said, you could enter them all if you want to have a safety plan. That way, if something doesn't go right on one of them, you can still end up qualifying. Or like in the case of one of my dogs last year who came into season halfway through national and didn't get to finish all of her events. Luckily, we'd had enough early in the week that we were still able to get by. And then the regular hunt tests do count as regular triathlon. So you have quite a few options to make up your 3 events there. But if you're planning to do triathlon, there's no additional fee for it. And Vicky comes up with usually some pretty nice trophies for it. But you do need to submit this form to Vicky by March 13th, which is close of entry day. So by the time the form is due, you know what you're entering because you would have had to enter. So just if you're doing triathlon, don't forget the additional form. And you send it by email and she will generally confirm that she got it for you. So that's your triathlon thing. The other thing I should just point out, if you're doing the for the show and obedience premium list, there is no entry form in the premium list because Cheryl Casier found that people were trying to type on that entry form and submit it online and it wasn't working, and then their entries were getting rejected and people were upset. So if you need an entry form, it is up here as a separate document and you should be able to type right on this. It looks ugly on my computer because I'm using Safari, but it shouldn't look ugly apparently on any other browser. So that's all the entry stuff. All the other information that you really need, hotel, logo items, there's a lot here. So if you haven't been on this page, you should. If you're not on the show Facebook page, you should, because I'm also sharing a lot of stuff there and you guys haven't all left the page yet. So I guess I'm not being too annoying with the way I'm promoting the show. But there's also some information there. Anything that's critical, I will also make sure is on the website. And if it's really critical, there will be a blast email. But some of the day-to-day stuff is just easier to share on Facebook. And that way I don't have to ask other people to do it for me. I can just put it there. So activities registration. This is what the form will take you into. If you haven't done PBGV National before, this is where you register for all of the meals, all of the seminars, and even if you're only doing free stuff, please go through and fill this out because we need head counts for a lot of the stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and sign into this. If you're not a if you're a PBGVCA member, you would use whatever email the club has on file for you. If you're not a PBGVCA member, you can just register and then they'll set you up an account in here. That might be the wrong term, but you can get set up. So I'm already in their database, so I didn't have to do any more here, but you would just go through and fill all this in. You initially are going to go through and fill everything out just for one person. So basically for yourself. If someone else is coming with you, then at the bottom, there will be an option to add guests. So I'll show you that. So like right now, I would just go through and pick my meals, and then I can add Dave as a guest and go through and put on all his meal choices. So welcome party is free. There's a taco bar because everyone loves tacos. And there's a cash bar with that. Even though it's free, we still need to know who's coming because we need to know how much food to have. So that's really important that you just let us know that you're coming. Because it can take a while and there's not a lot of restaurants around Roberts Center. We offered boxed breakfast a lot of the days, and either a box or buffet lunch every day. So you have some choices on those days. I'm vegetarian, so if you are too, I'm looking out for you. There are vegetarian choices on every meal because I know that it gets old to have to eat pasta primavera 4 days in a row, which sometimes happens. So box lunches we have box breakfast Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because those tend to be the earlier mornings. Box lunches Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, because those are the performance events and the seminar days where there isn't like one definitive lunch break. We wanted to give people the option, grab your box lunch and eat when you have time. On Thursday and Saturday, which are the days of the breed show, where there is the judges breaking for lunch for however many minutes, we're doing a soup and salad buffet instead. That was a little bit lower cost. People seem to like that idea. And because there is a defined lunch break on the show days, it worked to do that. We were just afraid on the other days that people wouldn't get to eat when the break was, so it wasn't logistically, it just felt a little bit harder. And then we have all the dinners, the top 20 dinner. And remember, when you sign up for top 20, it's not just your dinner, you're also getting a catalog with pictures of all the dogs that are entered and your people's choice vote. The health speaker dinner with Dr. Greer. That should be a really interesting talk. So hopefully people will come to that. And there's a barbecue dinner along with that. The awards breakfast is Friday morning. Remember, if you haven't sent your awards information to Terry, it has to be received by the 15th, and she will only accept postal service. I know, speaking for myself, I just yesterday received a title certificate that was earned on December 14th. So AKC has been a little bit behind on stuff, but hopefully everybody has what they need for submitting that stuff. If not, I would suggest that probably you communicate with Terry and see how she wants you to handle that. But that is a breakfast. That's a pretty fun thing. Even if you didn't have a dog get a title last year, it's usually nice. They do a slideshow with all the dogs and things. And then Saturday evening is the annual banquet and auction. Again, Janice Hayes is doing the auction. If you have items that you'd like to donate or anything like that, contact her directly and she can let you know. She generally does an online auction before the event. There's a silent auction at the event, and then we do just a few live auction items because we know by that point in the week everybody's a little bit fried. So we try not to have that go on too late in the evening. Okay, and then for seminars, the annual meeting is Thursday, not Wednesday. I'm sorry, this is the moment where I'm finding every typo that I missed, but the April 4th date is correct. The annual meeting is Thursday after the show. Obviously no charge to attend. We do need to have a quorum if the club's going to do any business. So if you're a PBGVCA member, please try to come. We just ask for a head count because we need to know how big of a room they need to put us in and how many chairs and things like that. We want to make sure we have room for everybody. Breeders Roundtable, also a free event on Friday, but again, we need to know how much space to have. If anybody has specific questions they'd like addressed for that, the topic is going to be establishing a line of dogs. There's a number of us who've bred PBGVs for a pretty long time presenting on that, but if you have specific questions, if you have vet questions, they should go to Laura to pass on to Dr. Greer, but if you have breeder questions, you're welcome to send them to me and I can potentially add them to the agenda for that. For the Breeders Roundtable, we also have a really nice door prize that was donated by Puppy Culture. It's actually all the online live streaming of basically the whole Puppy Culture program. So that was a pretty generous donation. That will be for one attendee of that Breeders Roundtable. Mentor seminar, again, it's free, but we just need to know how many people so we know what room to put you guys in and stuff like that. And then judges education on Saturday morning is limited to either people who are already a judge for PBGVs, they can attend an audit for free, or there's a $20, which is basically just to cover the materials that Kitty gives out for people who are basically either judges who are planning to add PBGVs as an additional breed or people who are actively working on applying to judge PBGVs. We also have the eye clinic on here, which is free. That's sponsored by the Health and Rescue Foundation. So definitely if you have dogs that need eye exams, please sign up for that. We do need to have some information here on your dogs. So you may need to have the registration paperwork handy when you fill this out. There's room to sign up for 3 dogs. If you have more than 3, it says to just contact Helen Inger and she'll give you the information. And then we have CGC and Trick Dog. We offer all 3 levels of Canine Good Citizen. So if you want to do the advanced or the urban, if your dog already has the regular CGC, you're welcome to do that. We also offer all of the levels of Trick Dog. Just if you're doing Trick Dog and you need props, you need to bring your own props. We're not able to provide every possible prop for every possible trick. I've had the question of agility obstacles as tricks. They do count, but we should not assume that we will have access to the agility equipment on Friday when we're doing Trick Dog because agility is Tuesday and the equipment will be put away. I am personally not getting contact equipment out, especially for anybody for Trick Dog. So if you have a dog that's entered in agility and you want to count agility stuff as one of your tricks, what I would do is find somebody who's a Trick Dog evaluator and ask them to watch your dog do the agility thing on Tuesday and sign off on your sheet that they saw it in person at the National, because you should not count on agility equipment being available on Tuesday or on Friday. We also do have the option, if you want to do trick dogs and support the club, but don't want to do it at nationals, Gwen is willing, and if there's overflow, I'm also willing to evaluate your trick dog titles by video. So you can sign up either here or by sending the $10 to the club by whatever means you want. Send us a video. AKC will accept trick dog titling by video. That does not count towards triathlon though. Triathlon, it has to be done at the show. But if you feel like you want to get your dog trick dog title and you don't have time at nationals or something like that, and you want to do a video, you're more than welcome to do that. We can't do Canine Good Citizen that way because AKC doesn't allow it, but they do allow trick dog by video. Next thing on here is trophy sponsorship. A lot of people have been very generous, but trophy donations are always a big thing. Remember, PBGVCA has trophies and rosettes for 1st through 4th place in every class, and that's a lot of classes. And we have some pretty exciting plans for some of the bigger awards. I don't know. Did that just flip to my photos? Can somebody nod? Hopefully you're seeing my other screen now. The tote bag that's up there now is the 1st through 4th place for the regional. And these travel organizers, which it's blurry because it was from a text message, but it gives you the idea, are the 1st through 4th places for the national. The regional bigger awards are going to be bunny themed. Betty found some really cool stuff. And then the national bigger awards are going to be PBGV sculpted items by Julia Anderson, who's an artist. I shared some of her stuff. I couldn't share it in the group because she wasn't in the group. But when she's doing stuff, she posts videos of her works in progress. And she actually posted our high-end trial trophy for obedience a couple days ago. So if you want to see, she's doing some really cool stuff there. So we should have some really nice trophies. Sponsorship is always something that we need there. We are offering the ringside table option again. Basically for $100, you get a table with 4 chairs at it right at ringside. So you'll have a great view. You can share it with a couple people. They seat 4 pretty comfortably. To seat more than 4, you're going to have to be really good friends, but I guess it's not COVID anymore. So if you want to do that, that's up to you. But basically a table with 4 chairs on it at ringside. We only sell 10 of them and those usually sell out. So if that's something that you want, you probably want to act on that sooner rather than later. It's always a good idea to pre-order your catalog. I know I never buy a catalog at any show except the national. I suspect a lot of people probably feel that way. So you can pre-order. Marked catalog, you probably only need to do if you're not going to the show and you want a marked catalog for some reason. But that is an option if you want to do that. And then just your last little bit down here, I'd said if you needed to add a guest, that's where you would do it. It's not going to let me because I didn't actually fill stuff in. But if you have a second person that's traveling with you, and I've never done it, but I would assume that if you have more than 2 people traveling with you, you can just keep adding guests to make sure that you've got everybody's meal choices on there. All right, so I'm just going to flip back here one more time. You can also find information on catalog ads. If you haven't done your awards application yet, that is on the club website. If you just want descriptions of everything, the schedule, you can order your logo items. The storefront on the club website, if you click on shop, will take you into where you can order your logo items. Sorry, things are loading slow because I'm on Zoom and trying to do this. And the trophy sponsorships, there are still some individual things available, and quite a lot of class sponsorship is still available. So that's all there on the club website. And now I am going to come out of screen sharing and just go back into regular Zoom. It looks like people have typed questions in the chat, so I'm going there now. Okay, Mike is here. Mary, can you explain the no judge section? You guys are muted, so Annie, do you want to unmute yourself and just clarify?
Yes. Mary
Okay.
answered. She referred me to the
Okay.
correct, specifically in the rules that speak to that.
Okay. Okay,
But
so you guys are good.
As long as you let me talk. The form's wonderful for the hunt. Spectacular. Very well done.
Okay.
I do have a question about PayPal. I tried to pay my membership through that and it kept insisting that I have a PayPal account. Is that true?
I was under the impression you could PayPal as a guest. That would be a good question for Mindy, the club treasurer, who is
Okay,
not
I'll ask
here.
her-
I
I'll
do
ask-
know that if you don't want to PayPal for your activities registration, you do have the option of sending a check.
Okay.
So it's
And-
PayPal's not mandatory, but as
No.
far as I would expect that you would be able to do it as a guest, but Mindy would be the better person to answer that
Okay.
question.
I was trying to connect an online application with a payment that was offline, and I think I can do that. And I will talk to Mary about that and or Paul
Okay.
later. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Sure. Okay. Laura, I see the note about the registration form for judges education. Do you want to send me an email and I'll figure out what the problem is, or do you want to tell me here? Okay. All right. And I have a list of questions that had come up in the Facebook group too. So let me just refer to my other list so I can make sure I'm answering those too. Sorry, I've got too many devices open in front of me here. Okay, Cheryl Champion asked me to say that we will need obedience and rally stewards. So that would be for Thursday in the morning. Okay, let me see if I can get you unmuted, Laura.
Am I on, am I,
There you go. I asked it, and I can probably let it. I don't want to unmute everybody, but I can. I now marked it so that you guys can unmute yourselves again. Sorry.
so on the
Okay.
registration form, Saturday morning, that judge's education, your only two choices are either to pay to be educated to be a judge or say that you are a judge and you want to audit. So there's no ability to not do one of those two things. So-
That was at Kitty's request because she does not want. If you are not already a judge and not applying to be a judge, she would prefer that you attend the mentor seminar, not the judges ed seminar.
But there's no way to, if you don't click that you want to be a judge.
Oh,
or
there's
you're
no way to
gonna-
say I'm not coming at all.
Right. So,
Okay, got it. Okay.
so
Is that
I
one of the things that
registered.
starred that you have to answer?
Yeah.
Okay, so we just need to get the star off of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I
I
will get Veronica
registered
to
like
do
I
that.
am a
Okay.
judge.
Yeah, thank you. You have found a bunch of the mistakes because when I proofed it, it wasn't live.
Right.
So I wasn't actually trying to do things. So the fact you have.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's helpful. Thank you. All right. So we will need some obedience and rally stewards for Thursday early morning and Friday late morning. We are happy to train people. So no experience needed. And I think, there were questions in the Facebook group today. Let me find those quick because I didn't get a chance to write those down. I know the one was about airports. And the answer to the airport question is that Roberts Center is kind of in between Columbus, Dayton, and Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati is the biggest of those three airports. So depending on flight stuff, that may or may not be better. I posted today on the group. I stole it from the Bouvier Club because they had this really nice. These are ways to get from the airports to Roberts Center. So I stole that from them. I just saw the question now about raffle or auction at the hunt. They are planning a raffle at the hunt. Terry is on the call and I believe is in charge of that. So if she wants to say anything, feel free. I don't know who iPhone 3 is, asking about top 20.
So I
So
just,
if you, okay.
Megan, I just
Aw,
put,
you have a puppy. I'm jealous. Okay. Anyway,
it's helping me recover.
okay, yeah, PBGV
Um,
puppies help everything.
I just put a call out on Facebook. I'm sure you saw, and I had a great response of people going to bring things. So I'll be over there just as soon as I run Fast Cats on Sunday. I'll get over
to the hunt and then we can set up. I don't think it's rocket science. So people
I
have
wouldn't, yeah.
told me, and I've had some messages of things that people are going to bring. So I think it'll go fairly easy and fun. So I'm excited.
Cool. Okay, somebody, and their name on here is just iPhone 3, so I have to say I don't know who this is. Says, I cannot get Marina to answer me about entering the top 20. If whoever that is wants to unmute, I can try. Top 20 is not technically part of the show, so there's only so much I can do, but I don't know if somebody's trying,
Megan,
okay. Yeah.
Megan, it's Mike. And
Oh, okay.
I've been in contact with her and I cannot get her to answer me to enter.
Okay, I don't even know I assume the entry things are out for top 20.
Yes,
Okay.
I got my invitation, but I can't get her to answer me and how to enter it. And pay the money.
Okay, all right, I will try to follow up with her. Sometimes Facebook Messenger works better than email with her, although she does respond to email. I'll see what I can find out. Top 20 is not technically part of the show, so there's only so much I can do, but I will try to find out for you.
Okay, thanks, because I got the invitation and then she said at that point you could pay by PayPal and I want to enter both of mine. Another question.
Okay.
It's not a regular event. So spade bitch could be shown in it.
There are rules for top 20. Again, it's not a part of the show. I honestly don't know.
Okay.
There are written rules somewhere for top 20 is my understanding. But you would, again, that would be a question for Marina. I'm sorry. I honestly don't know.
That's fine, as I said, but I'm having trouble getting her to answer me.
Okay. Yeah. I've had success with both Facebook Messenger and email, but
Because
yeah,
I want to enter both of mine and pay the entry fee, which she said you could do through PayPal, but I can't figure out how to do it.
well, Mendy Marshall could help you with that. So if it's just a matter of how to pay, you could touch base with Mendy. I'm sorry that Marina's not getting back to you. I can try to touch base with her. But as I said, top 20 is kind of not, I mean, it's at the show, but it's not technically part of the show.
I know, I understand.
They're their own committee. But I will see what I can find out for you.
Thanks a lot.
Sure. Okay. Does anybody, I'm going to do a random number generator for the door prize shortly. But does anybody else have any other questions?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
So I just wanted to say one more thing about the hunt, and that is the hotel. There was a little funny thing about the room block at the Red Roof where technically they were supposed to treat Saturday night differently. That has been corrected. So now if you want to just call anybody that wants to just call the Red Roof in directly, if you do it before 3 o'clock, you'll talk to the manager, Terry, or his wife, Sherry, and they both understand how the thing works, and you can get a room Saturday night that's part of the reservation. So a couple people kind of ran up against that, but I don't know how many people on this call it affects, but I know that we're making a recording that other people might listen to. So
exactly. That's why I tried to say things that other people might need to hear too. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the door prize I have for tonight, thank you guys for calling in. As I said, I really didn't want to talk to an empty Zoom. This is the Dogged Planner, which is, this is put out by Julie Bacon, who's the Q coach. She does a really good podcast and some online classes. This is basically a 2004 planner on how to plan your dog shows. There's places for vet space or for vet records in here. If you're a breeder, you can keep track of season dates and ovulation timing. It's a pretty cool book. I will also give you the tip for whoever wins to sit in the back. There's a code where if you want to get her online goal setting class for $1, you can do that based on having the book. So Julie was kind enough to donate this. What I did was by my best account, there were 13 people that I let into the call. I don't know if they're all still here, but I have a random number. So I just wrote them down in the number I let people in. For a couple of you, I don't have names. I just have phone numbers and things like that. So hopefully you'll be able to self-identify if that is one of the ones that comes up. But I'm doing a random number generator of 1 to 13. And it just generated 3, which is Paul. So I think Paul's
Oh.
still here.
Yeah.
So I will get this in the mail to you. And you can use it for planning out your girls' stunt work career and anything else that you might need to
Great,
do.
thank you.
You're welcome. So I will send that off to you. Right. I hope I will see everybody in 2 months. Thank you guys for calling in. I'll put up the recording of this. I'll probably put up the Zoom link recording right away, or maybe tomorrow at this point, because it's getting late and I still haven't had dinner. So I'll put that up right away, but then I will also, if YouTube will let me upload 53 minutes of this, I will put it on YouTube also so that it's available for people in the longer term, because I know that there isn't a good time that works for everybody. So hopefully anybody that has questions or that is interested in any of the stuff that I shared will be able to find it. So thank you guys. Everybody have a good night, and I'll see you in 2 months.
Thank
very
you,
much.
Megan.
Thank you, Megan.
You're welcome.
Okay.
You're doing a great job. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.